Hi, everyone. We're going to move on to the faculty session right now, the faculty panel. If the faculty here can introduce themselves, their name, their department, and the campus that they're on, that'd be great. Thanks.
You're gonna have to call us out because we're just gonna sit here until somebody calls us out.
Luke.
Fair point. I'm Luke Wiseman. I'm in California, and I'm in the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology.
Sathya.
Hi, I'm Sathya Puthanveettil. I'm in the Department of Neuroscience in the Florida campus.
Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Soltz. I'm an associate professor. I'm on the Florida campus. I'm also the associate dean of the program.
Last but not least, Katja.
Hi, I'm Katja Lamia. I am also in the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology on the California campus and an associate dean for the graduate program in California.
You're muted there, Kristen.
Sorry about that. So we had some questions submitted and we can start from there. Since we were just talking about the personal statement, can you tell us what particular elements are strongly recommended? And go from there.
I'll go first, I guess. Don't be boring. Like, keep in mind that the people on the admissions committee have to read hundreds and hundreds of these applications. And so you want to stand out, but you also want to give a good idea of who you are as a scientist and as a person. But don't try to be unique. Try to actually, show us who you are, because we read a lot of these and you want to stand out. And I can tell you, I remember all the ones that stood out.
I agree. I remember the ones that have stood out as well. We also like to see you writing about instances where you've had to overcome something, whether it was like a major issue in the lab or a personal event, because it demonstrates your grit and tenacity. And because let's be realistic, science is 90% failure, 10% success, and you're going to be encountering a lot of that in graduate school. So we want to make sure that you can handle that when you get here. And we can definitely tell that, or for the most part, we can tell that in your writing of your personal statement if you talk about something that you have personally gone through.
But make sure it's actually substantial, not like I had a hard Western blot and I had to figure out a Western
Yes, exactly. Don't talk about like my cell culture died.
blot. Yeah.
But quickly, otherwise, I think Shannon went through basically everything that was really critical that goes into the personal statement. It's a lot, but it's doable. So.
Okay, so how was pursuing a graduate degree at Scripps different from a traditional institute?
I think, yeah. Go ahead, Laura. You're going to go. Yeah. We'll let Katja go too. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, Katja, you can go first. Luke and I have already spoken.
Well, Luke is the only one of us who actually did his PhD at Scripps, so he might be the best position to respond. But what I think is unique about Scripps is a couple of things. First of all, it's very research focused because that is primarily what we do here. We don't have an undergraduate. We're not part of an undergraduate institution. I think another thing that's really beneficial is the ability to really cross disciplines here and to collaborate across departments and across disciplines. That's something that I really value. And I think that is a unique feature of the graduate experience, not really being pigeonholed into one department, but being able to work with people from all different scientific disciplines.
I mean, I guess I was called out, so I'll weigh in. That is exactly right. I came to Scripps as a undergrad to be a synthetic chemist, but it turns out I was real bad at it. And so because of the way Scripps is structured, I was able to sort of transition into more biophysical chemistry and then cell biology and even in sort of in vivo stuff. And you can't do that everywhere. The way we were able to work with other labs to do stuff is just incredible. I mean, even as a faculty, I came back for the same reason. I mean, I have collaborations I mean, I've collaborations with Katja, but I've also worked with Laura. She's over there for me. And it's really fantastic to actually be able to do this in a way that it's more difficult at more traditional universities. They're just, we have departments, they just don't matter to you. They have no real meaning to grad students. And that's what's so cool about it. You can do wherever you're limited by your imagination.
Okay.
Stick with it.
Okay. So, what are are applicants expected to come with specific research directions in mind for admissions, since we're talking about departments?
I mean, I want them to be good scientists. Our job is probably to help them find the right path, but I mean, they should have some interest, right? I mean, obviously, but yeah, a little,
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, I want them to be good scientists and good thinkers.
yeah, I agree. Maybe a little bit of focus would be good. Don't come in and be like, I want to do everything, because that's literally not feasible. But maybe have some sort of idea about, maybe, for instance, if you're interested in immunology and neuroscience, maybe you want to do something like in the neuroimmunology field, which is really up and coming. And so have a little bit of focus, but don't come in here and be like, I want to do everything, or I don't know what I want to do. That is the kiss of death right there.
Okay,
I
I
agree
have
with
to
Luke.
disagree.
Sorry.
Okay. See, this is good. This is good.
I mean, I don't think it's the kiss of death to not know what you want to do. To have thought about it is definitely important, but it's perfectly fine, in my opinion, to be open to different possibilities. But I do think you want it to come through in your application, and hopefully you wouldn't be applying to graduate school if you haven't thought about why, and have some kind of idea about the types of questions that interest you and the types of approaches that you want to learn. But maybe it's just me, but I think it's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to do, or even are open to multiple different possibilities. I think we have lots of students who come in, thinking, oh, I think I'm interested in immunology, but then they end up doing something else, or someone like Luke, who, thought he wanted to do a certain area of chemistry and then realized that wasn't really, for him.
That's exactly what I said. I said I was bad at it.
Well, I know, but I don't believe you. You think you're bad at everything and you're not bad at anything. But anyway, you want it to come through that you've thought about why you want to do this and the types of things that interest you, and that, you have a sophisticated understanding of science at the appropriate level. But you don't need to have a very specific research direction in mind, in my opinion.
I agree with what Luke and all of you said. I think what's more important is to have a really a deep thinker, some serious passion about, asking questions and solving problems. And you are not limited by any methodologies or any tools or things like that. You should be able to think across multiple disciplines.
And as a reminder too, you have your own sort of you still have the other document too, like that, like your previous research experience document too, right?
Everything is combined now.
Okay, sorry. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about then. Never mind.
So ideally, you would include in that statement a description of research experience you've had in the past, and it should come through that you understand what you did and what were the questions that you were asking, and also share some personal background.
It's that first point is what I was going to get to, is that, we want to see depth of thought, right? When you look at these applications, you want to see that you can think about a problem deeply, but you can demonstrate that with your previous experience as well. If you want to talk about what you want to do next, though, it's difficult to show depth of thought if you want to do all the things. But I think it's useful to use your previous experience as a chance to say, look, this is how I thought about this problem, and I dove into that. Now I'm really excited about a lot of different things, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm excited about these people at Scripps and how I want to do the work. So I think it's important, though, you do demonstrate depth of thought, though. And that kind of speaks to the idea of somewhere you have to show some level of focus, whether your previous work or maybe what you want to do. It could be either one. But I think it is useful to show the depth of thought. I don't know if that makes sense. I said a lot of words, but I was going for a point.
I think you made your point.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah.
So how do you view applicants coming from non-biomedical science majors, such as engineering backgrounds?
I think we love them.
Great.
Same as all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, as Luke mentioned, we really want to make sure that you guys are thinking and you're coming in with big questions and things that you want to solve. And I mean, you can do that with an engineering background, and sometimes you can even take what you learned as an engineer and apply it to your science, and you can come up with some really cool things that we wouldn't even think about normally. So we love all of it.
And then what makes an applicant stand out and thrive at Scripps?
Hard work, discipline, tenacity, grit, everything that we basically just mentioned.
Being experimentally fearless, letting the science drive where you go. Those are the people who do the best. The ones that recognize the fact that all of a sudden my project turned into a structural biology project. I thought I was doing just cell biology, now it's a structure project. And not being afraid of that. Don't be limited by techniques. Feel brave enough to be able to do wherever the science takes you. Those are the people who do best at Scripps.
And those are the ones that you guys love the most too. Like we love it when people come to us and be like, oh, look at this. And it's super exciting. And we're like, okay.
I mean, but the thing that's really we're good about too, and I think Katja will speak to this as well because she does it too. If we don't know it in my lab, for example, I just go find somebody that does. Like you're not limited to just, I'm not your only source of information if you work in my lab. And that's true of everybody here, I'm sure. But like, for example, we had a project that we wanted to do with circadian biology stuff, right? I don't know much about that, but Katja is an expert. And so now we have like a joint project, a joint student that's actually doing that work because we followed the science. And that's really kind of the very much the sort of the mantra of Scripps. You follow the science, it takes you where it takes you. Is that fair, Katja? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what are the biggest differences between California and Florida campuses aside from geography?
Time zones. Nailed it.
Weather, humidity.
I guess the size is slightly different. I mean, it's hard for any of us to really say because we have experience on one or the other campus. But I think there are different faculty members and slightly, I mean, we have all the same departments, but I would think, I don't know if you guys think there's any difference in the culture. I don't necessarily think so. Specific labs are different, obviously. All of the classes are shared.
I think the science philosophy is basically the same. It's like go after whatever you want, and it's research focused for PIs across the board. So, like I said, except for the weather, the time zones, and the humidity, and the size, they're similar.
I think we work on very different research problems. So someone wanted to look at, for example, memory versus, total synthesis. Maybe we need to choose different campuses based on.
And then what does a typical lab rotation look like for a new student? What do you expect from them?
That will vary widely by lab. I mean, at the end of the day, like in some people's labs, like mine, for example, what I would do is I generally would pair you with a more senior person to work on a project that you express interest in. But you wouldn't probably have your own project for a rotation. It's 3 months. I think it's the point I wanted you to see how we think, how we work. And if you decide to come back to the lab, I would have you sort of work with me now that you've seen everything, what project we'd want. Other people would give you a project straight away. It really depends on the lab. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. You would learn that when you go and ask people if you can do a rotation, you would get an idea of how they want to approach it. And I just want people to work hard and think. Like, I mean, I want people to work hard and try. If you fail, that, like, what would you say, 90-10? Kind of want to work in Laura's lab. That's good odds. You're going to fail a lot, and just you have to do stuff to fail though. So, get the 9 out of the way so the 1 can work. I guess is the way to say it.
I think the bottom line is like Luke said, the expectation for a rotation will completely depend on the lab, and it's an opportunity for both the student and the faculty member and the entire lab to kind of see if it's a good fit, So I think for every lab, you'll be expected to, show professionalism and, communicate well with others and be responsible about the experiments that you're doing. And, we want to see how you work with other people and how you handle things not working. Do you troubleshoot? Do you, interpret that properly? Are you open to feedback? Those are the kind of things. So, for me, I'm mostly interested in a person's kind of character and how they get along with everyone and how responsible they are and how ready and willing they are to learn and get feedback. Yes, we want you to work hard, but for me personally, it's more important for me to see that you're working responsibly, honestly, with a very good openness to feedback and training. But that's going to be different for every group.
One thing to add to that too is that keep in mind that, not every lab is going to be a great fit for what you need. Like my mentorship style works for some people, it doesn't work for everybody. And I think we're all well aware of that, and we don't we don't see anything wrong with it. It just is what it is. And so you're looking for a good fit as well for your mentor. So I think the question really should be almost flipped around. What you want to be looking for when you rotate in labs. And you're really looking for a good relationship with a mentor that you feel like you can get, that can make you the best version of yourself, the best scientific version of yourself. And I do the best I can to adapt. I'm sure we all do, but I am what I am, and sometimes that doesn't jive well with what people want, and that's okay. But that's also what that you need to be looking for too. And we're all well aware of this, and we want what's best for the students. So if it's my lab or somebody else's, I want what's best for y'all. And I think it's important for you to recognize what you need to be looking for when you're doing rotations, almost more than what we're looking for, to be honest. I think that's more important.
Totally
I think
agree.
it's a very critical point. So a lot of people go into rotations and think that in grad school in of itself, thinking that it's all about the science, and there's a lot more to it than that. Like, you want to be interested in the science, but you really need to mesh with the lab and your mentor, because if you don't, it's going to be a very miserable experience for you for your time. So really take the time to evaluate that.
Yeah.
Then we have a few other questions about the application. Do you recommend that students contact PIs before applying?
It
I
doesn't
think it's a
hurt.
positive thing.
I mean,
But it's not required. I think if you are genuinely particularly interested in a specific faculty member's research, then yes, I would go ahead and contact them. But it's certainly, I would not go contacting everyone, like a blanket, machine gun fire, contacting every faculty member. That's a waste of your time, their time, and it won't make the right impression. But if you're genuinely interested in a particular area of research, genuinely interested in working with a particular faculty member, absolutely reach out to them.
I will say this though, I when you apply to graduate programs, try to not go just for one person though. I think you should have like interest in multiple labs, because again, all these things that we're talking about, like meshing with your PI and stuff, you might love the person's science, but you realize it's just not the best fit for you. It could be the best fit for someone else, but maybe not you, and that's okay. But you want to make sure you have a lot of options. And so, I came to Scripps. There were multiple people I wanted to work with when I was here, and so that was kind of like that's an important thing to think about when you're applying to any grad school. To be honest, make sure there's more than one, because what if that lab isn't a good fit for you?
And then one question is, considering taking 1 to 2 years to work in the industry before a PhD, what is your opinion?
I don't know. It's fine.
Again, as long as as long as you can show that you can think about critically about science in your project, I think that that's fine. I mean,
I think it sometimes even shows a certain level of maturity, which is also useful too in the applications. And so there's no negative to it. There could be positives to it depending on the situation. So I have to admit I'm not on the admissions committee anymore. But that being said, I always looked at it as favorably. I didn't think it bad at all. So I'm not sure if the question was, is it a bad thing or not? I think it can be a good thing.
I have noticed myself that people who have spent some time outside of, like, after undergrad, before they went to grad school, and they spent time in the lab, either being a technician or in industry, they do have a certain maturity in their application that some people lack. And so I agree with you. Like, it just adds, you just grow up because you're working a job, a real job.
Yeah.
And then we'll have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just because there's nothing wrong with applying out of undergrad either.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Just make it clear. Yeah, but I mean, you see that. Sorry, I'll be quiet, Kristen. Sorry.
No. I don't want to leave the wrong impression. I'm just saying that, like, I've noticed that there is a slight difference, but it's not a bad difference with people coming out of undergrad. I mean, there's some very strong candidates who come straight out of undergrad as well. I mean, so
yeah,
you just need to put your best foot forward in your application.
And then there's a question about publications. If student has publications during undergrad or prior to applying, does that strengthen their application?
Yes.
For sure.
but it's not required.
Not required.
Okay, perfect. We have about 2 minutes left. Any final thoughts to leave everyone with?
I really can't emphasize enough. Don't be entertaining, and make it so that that actually is really conveying who you are. Just remember how many applications people are reading. And that's really important, because if you think about those terms and really think about how much effort you want to put into your personal statement to make yourself stand out. And like I said, I can vividly remember reading the ones that were really, really good. There's like 10 or so I can remember over the years that just absolutely stood out spectacularly. And I often tell those students that, but honestly, try to be one of those 10.
And I'm seeing a lot of questions, scrolling by on the Q&A about that, how to stand out in your personal statement. And I think it's really, you don't have to write in detail about every research experience you've had. A narrative style rather than listing things does tend to be better. I saw a question about that. And, be willing to share something about yourself that makes you unique. And that can be anything, because, you are who you are. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe you have a, experience as an athlete in some way, and that informed your thoughts about science. Or maybe you had a family member with a particular medical condition that informed your interest in science. Or maybe you had a different alternative schooling or career path or something, whatever it is, share something about yourself in addition to your passion about science that informs on it and will just, show a little something about who you are in addition to your scientific interests.
Yeah.
I hope it's helpful.
Well, maybe one or two things of what not to do. I know Shannon mentioned that you should talk about Scripps and why you're interested in Scripps and what you're passionate about. Do not copy paste from the internet. We know what is on there, and I have seen that. And it's just like, if you can't come up with something unique, that is gonna immediately affect your score, at least for me. So, and same thing for faculty about why you're interested in faculty. Like, don't take it right off their webpage. Like, really think about why you're interested in that faculty and put it in your application. No copy paste, because for me, that's a detractor.
All right. Well, thank you to all the faculty. We'll go ahead and move on to the next session. Again, thank you for joining us.